It's time for 250 random facts. Because 249 wasn't enough, and 251 felt excessive. Let's get into it. Anterograde amnesia disrupts the ability to create new memories after brain injury. Yet affected individuals can still learn new motor skills. This shows a clear difference between procedural memory, skills, and declarative memory, facts and events, in the brain's memory systems. Walter Orthman of Brazil holds the Guinness World Record for the longest career at a single company, having worked at Renault's View in Brusque, Santa Catarina, for over 80 years. He began as a shipping assistant at age 15 on January 17, 1938, and continued in various roles, including sales manager, until his death at age 102 in August 2024. The International Potato Center in Peru successfully grew potatoes in simulated Martian soil and atmosphere using the University of Lima's CubeSat system. Their 2017 experiment proved potatoes could be cultivated in space-like environments, fueling hope for future off-world farming. The World Health Organization estimates 50% of all medications are misused, either taken incorrectly or not at all. That means half of all prescriptions become pricey dust collectors or dangerous guessing games. Medicine works best when people actually follow directions. Many everyday technologies, from the internet to microchips, started as U.S. military projects before becoming the foundation of modern life. Military innovation quietly shaped our digital world, turning battlefield inventions into essentials for work, play, and connecting across continents. Hormel Foods, the maker of Spam, discourages employees from using the term spam for unsolicited emails, preferring unwanted emails to protect the brand's image. This policy reflects the company's effort to dissociate its product from negative connotations. Eleanor Gibson and Richard Walk's visual cliff study revealed infants innately fear falling. When placed on a glass-covered drop illusion, most 6 to 14-month-olds refuse to crawl over, indicating built-in depth perception and fall avoidance instincts, one of humanity's first evolutionary fears. Cows have one stomach with 4 compartments: rumen, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum. This complex system ferments and regurgitates grass, then redigests it into usable nutrients. It's a biological factory that turns tough plant matter into milk, meat, and energy. In 2013, Venezuela's prisons held nearly 48,000 inmates, despite being built for only 16,500. Overcrowded and often run by inmates themselves, the system buckled under pressure, turning jails into chaotic micro-cities instead of places for justice or reform. The My Doom virus of 2004 is the most destructive computer virus ever, causing an estimated $38 billion in global damages. It spread faster than any previous malware, effectively shutting down systems and proving digital chaos can be as costly as natural disasters. Massive sandstorms in the Sahara Desert can blow fine dust thousands of miles across the Atlantic Ocean. This dust eventually reaches the Amazon rainforest, where it helps fertilize the soil, linking 2 distant ecosystems in an unexpected natural cycle. Thomas Jefferson bred geese at Monticello for crafting quill pens. He used left-wing feathers for right-handed writing and right-wing for lefties. After spring plucking, he hardened the quills in hot, dry sand, then sharpened them with a knife for smoother, finer ink flow. Roughly 2 billion people globally consume insects regularly. From crickets to beetles, edible bugs are protein-rich, sustainable, and affordable. Though common in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, insect cuisine remains taboo in much of the Western world for now. In 2013, Chilean scientists created a vaccine that causes an instant hangover when alcohol is consumed. Intended to treat alcoholism, it makes drinking downright miserable. Imagine tequila with a built-in punishment. Now that's tough love in a syringe. Elon Musk disliked how traditional schools educated his kids, so he made his own. It's called Ad Astra, Latin for to the stars. Because when you're a billionaire genius, homeschooling apparently means reinventing the entire education system from scratch. The Liberty Bell and Big Ben were both cast by the Whitechapel Bell Foundry in London. Interestingly, despite being world-famous symbols, both bells are cracked, adding a shared flaw to their historic legacy and the foundry's remarkable craftsmanship. The word quarantine comes from the Italian quarantino, meaning 40 days. During the Black Death, ships were required to wait offshore for 40 days to prove they weren't infected. This policy marked one of the earliest forms of disease prevention and control. Shilin, in China's Yunnan province, is a stone forest of towering limestone pillars formed 270 million years ago. Resembling petrified trees, locals believe it's haunted by spirits. This surreal landscape is both a geological marvel and cultural legend. Modern roller coasters trace back to 17th century Russia, where thrill-seekers zoomed down icy wooden ramps on straw mats or blocks of ice. No safety bars, just frozen fun and gravity-fueled danger. Turns out adrenaline is older than electricity. In the 1830s, ketchup was marketed as medicine and sold in pill form to treat indigestion. Yes, tomato goop as a cure-all. Doctor-prescribed condiments sound bizarre now, but back then, ketchup was basically the original Pepto with fries on the side. The boiling frog story is a myth. Frogs will jump out if water heats gradually and becomes uncomfortable. However, a frog dropped into boiling water dies immediately. The tale symbolizes ignorance to gradual danger, but is scientifically false. Pregnancy gingivitis affects approximately 40% of pregnant women, with some studies reporting prevalence rates as high as 67% to 100%. This condition is primarily driven by hormonal changes during pregnancy, leading to increased gum sensitivity and inflammation. Japan's Nomio created a crossword puzzle in 2015 featuring 66,666 clues and nearly 94,000 squares. It took over 4 years to design. This behemoth brain teaser is so massive it's been called the Mount Everest of puzzles, and only a few finished it. In 2017, golfers Adam Ralston and Ron Rutland played a single hole across Mongolia, 2,011 kilometers long. It took 82 days, 20,093 strokes, and 1 horse caddy. The estimated par? A staggering 14,000. Proof that golf and epic quests do mix. Pilots face a tricky optical illusion called looming, where airports can look much closer or farther than they actually are. It's a real-life visual curveball that can mess with landing decisions, proving even experts get fooled by perspective. In Japan, the Fast and the Furious series is called Wild Speed. Interestingly, some sequel titles there include major plot spoilers, unlike the English versions, where titles are kept more vague to preserve suspense for audiences worldwide. George Washington's dentures weren't made from wood. They were crafted from human, horse, and cow teeth, combined with ivory, lead and tin alloy, copper alloy, and silver alloy. These materials caused discomfort and affected his speech and appearance throughout his life. Heisler beer isn't real. It's a prop beer created by independent studio services. You've seen it in countless shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Parks and Recreation, and New Girl. It's the go-to fake beer for Hollywood's thirstiest characters. In June 2016, hackers leaked nearly 33 million Twitter passwords. Over 120,000 people used 123456. That's not a password. It's a cry for help. If your password sounds like a kindergarten math lesson, it's time to change it. Seriously. San Marino, one of the world's tiniest countries, celebrates a military holiday despite having just 13 soldiers. Their army might be small, but the pride and tradition? Larger than life. Size doesn't always matter. Sometimes it's about the heart. Since 2017, the U.S. Navy has used Xbox 360 controllers to move submarine periscopes. They replaced older, bulky controls that cost much more. The new controllers are cheaper, lighter, and easier for sailors to use during operations. The oldest known selfie was taken in 1839 by Robert Cornelius, an American pioneer in photography. He captured his own image by removing the camera lens cap and sitting still for several minutes, creating one of the first self-portraits ever made. Each year, over 15,000 house fires in the U.S. are caused by candles. Often left unattended or placed near flammable objects, these cozy lights account for about 4% of all residential fires, proving small flames can ignite major disasters. People's voices subtly change when they're attracted to someone, often without realizing it. Pitch and tone change, while pace shifts as flirtation slips into the sound waves. So yes, your crush might hear your interest before you even say a word. If every single person on Earth stood together inside the Grand Canyon, we wouldn't even make a dent. The canyon's volume is that massive, it could swallow the world's population and still have room for echoes, tumbleweeds, and bad decisions. Paris has more than 44,000 restaurants for around 2.14 million people, about one for every 48 residents. This high number shows how important food and dining culture are in the city, making it a true paradise for food lovers. As of mid-2024, the U.S. Department of Defense employed approximately 2.8 million people, about 1.3 million active-duty military, 760,000 National Guards, and 790,000 civilians, with a fiscal year 2024 budget of roughly $842 billion. A University of Kansas study found it takes about 50 hours of interaction to turn an acquaintance into a casual friend. Building a close friendship? That takes roughly 200 hours. Time truly is the secret ingredient to connection. New York City property owners can request free street trees through the Parks Department and even suggest the species. It's urban greening on demand. Want a cherry blossom outside your window? The Big Apple might just plant it. Eating late at night doesn't automatically cause weight gain. Your body digests food around the clock, so when you eat matters less than what and how much you eat. Late night snacking isn't a villain, just don't binge on the whole fridge. Mount Bosavi in Papua New Guinea, an extinct volcano, harbors over 40 unique species, including the world's smallest parrot. Its isolated crater, undisturbed for 200,000 years, has fostered a rich, untouched ecosystem. On April 29, 2015, the Baltimore Orioles played the Chicago White Sox in an empty stadium due to civil unrest. No fans were allowed for safety reasons. The game, eerily silent and historic, ended with an Orioles victory of 8-2. Roughly 3% of Antarctica's ice is frozen penguin urine. Since it's too cold for liquid to evaporate, penguin pee builds up and freezes over time, making nature's icy wilderness a giant, frigid urinal preserved by the elements. On November 3, 1986, jurors in a lawsuit against Otis Elevator Company got stuck in an Otis elevator on their way to court. The irony was so intense, it practically pressed its own stop button. Case closed, awkwardly. In 2012, a blind dog named Turfle was adopted by a stray cat who became his personal guide. The cat gently tapped Turfle's legs with its paw to lead him. Yes, a seeing eye cat, breaking stereotypes and melting hearts simultaneously. Chinese checkers was invented in Germany in 1892 and is actually called Sternhelme. It has no link to China or the game of checkers. The name was just a clever way to make it sound more exotic. The suffix "stan" in country names like Pakistan and Kazakhstan originates from Persian, meaning land of or place of. It denotes geographic belonging and is common across several Central and South Asian nations. The oldest known toy is a simple stick. From prehistoric play to modern games of fetch, children and animals alike have used sticks for fun. Its timeless appeal earned it a spot in the U.S. Toy Hall of Fame in 2008. Alan Gans has been serving ice cream in Boston since 1947, earning the title of world's longest-serving ice cream man. He knows about 90% of his customers by name. That's not a route, it's a community on wheels. The U.S. holds the title for the highest civilian gun ownership in the world, with about 88.8 guns per 100 people. That's nearly 1 gun per person, more firepower than folks if you count babies, pacifists, and pet hamsters. Healthy guinea pigs can produce anywhere from 100 to 150 fecal pellets each day. If the count drops below 50, it may indicate serious digestive issues like gut stasis, requiring immediate veterinary care to prevent potentially life-threatening complications in these delicate animals. In 1972, MIT researchers developed the World 3 model, featured in the Limits to Growth report, predicting that if current trends in population growth, industrialization, and resource consumption continued, global collapse could occur by 2040 due to resource depletion, pollution, and environmental degradation. Many U.S. sports events are labeled World Championships, even when only American teams compete. This tradition emphasizes national pride, but often puzzles international audiences. In the U.S., the world can mean home turf, and the title, a symbol of unmatched excellence. Some Japanese Buddhist monks practice sokushinbutsu, self-mummification. They ate only bark, seeds, and resin, meditated in a tomb, and rang a bell daily. When the bell stopped, the tomb was sealed. If preserved, they were revered as living Buddhas. Grim enlightenment. The U.S. controls about 80% of global maritime trade, dominating crucial shipping routes, especially after expanding influence into the Pacific. This strategic grip gives America massive economic leverage, shaping how goods move worldwide, even if most people never see an ocean. In the 2002 Boston Marathon, 13% of finishers exhibited hyponatremia, a condition caused by excessive water intake leading to dangerously low sodium levels. This highlights the importance of balanced hydration during endurance events to prevent serious health risks. In NASCAR, pit crews once comprised mechanics, but now they're often former athletes. Trained for explosive speed and coordination, these crew members perform tasks like refueling and tire changes in under 12 seconds, turning each pit stop into a high-stakes performance of precision and speed. Rome is home to the Museo Nazionale della Pasta Alimentare, a museum dedicated entirely to pasta. Exhibits feature antique machines, pasta-making history, and even pasta art, including noodles shaped like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Yes, carbs have their own museum. FIFA has 211 national teams, more than the 193 United Nations member states. It means more countries compete in football's World Cup qualifiers than have seats at the world's biggest diplomatic table. Sports, uniting nations not even recognized by nations. Some luxury brands destroy unsold stock to keep their image exclusive. Burberry famously burned $36 million worth of products because apparently exclusivity means watching designer scarf go up in flames instead of letting discounts dilute the brand's mystique. Therapsids, prehistoric mammal-like reptiles, lived in South Africa over 250 million years ago before dinosaurs. They evolved traits that led to modern mammals, representing a critical evolutionary bridge from reptilian ancestors to warm-blooded mammals. The Gregorian calendar is used by most of the world, but 4 countries follow different calendars: Ethiopia, Iran, Afghanistan, and Nepal. Ethiopia uses the Ethiopian calendar, Iran and Afghanistan use the solar Hijri calendar, and Nepal uses the Vikram Sambat calendar. Drinking water at strategic times, after waking up, before meals, and before bed, can help boost metabolism, improve digestion, and even support heart function. Hydrating right isn't just healthy, it's a science-backed habit for better energy and body performance. Hedgehogs got their name from their habits, snuffling through hedges while foraging and making pig-like grunts. They eat tiny bugs, frogs, and even snakes, basically nature's spiky vacuum cleaner with a piggy soundtrack and zero interest in personal space. African elephants sometimes eat fermented marula fruit, which can mildly intoxicate them. Researchers say this elephant drunkenness might cause clumsy behavior and hangovers, proving even the largest land mammals can overdo it at the wildlife party. Over 17 million U.S. adults suffer from alcohol use disorder. The most affected professions include miners, construction workers, food service employees, lawyers, and doctors, highlighting widespread impact across diverse and high-stress occupations. Hippopotamuses are among Africa's most dangerous animals, responsible for an estimated 500 to 3,000 human deaths annually. Despite their herbivorous diet, they are highly territorial and can run up to 30 kilometers per hour on land. Your skin hosts about 32 million bacteria per square inch. These microbes, though invisible, form part of your body's microbiome, helping with defense and balance. You're never really alone. Millions of microscopic tenants live rent-free on your skin 24/7. Metrophobia is the fear of poetry, yes, poems. Reading, hearing, or writing verse can trigger anxiety. So for some, Shakespeare isn't just confusing, it's terrifying. Roses are red, violets are blue. Rhymes might scare the soul right out of you. Boxing gloves were introduced to reduce cuts and broken hands, but ironically, they led to more brain damage. With padded fists, boxers could punch harder and longer, causing deeper internal injuries. Turns out safety gear isn't always brain-friendly. Women can have twins with different fathers. This rare event happens when two eggs are fertilized by sperm from different partners. It's called heteropaternal superfecundation. While it's unusual, it has been proven to happen in real life. Michael J. Dillon, an IRS revenue officer, was fatally shot on September 23, 1983, by former IRS employee James F. Bradley with an M1 rifle while attempting to collect a $500 debt. For 27 years, he remained the only IRS officer to be killed in the line of duty. Wearing rings can trap up to 730 million germs beneath them, equivalent to Europe's population. The mix of moisture, warmth, and skin oils turns your jewelry into a microbe metropolis. Regular hand washing and cleaning your rings can reduce the risk. In 2014, French inventor Christian Poincheval created pills that make your farts smell like roses or chocolate. Yes, they're real. Flatulence, once feared, now fragranced. Who knew dignity could come in capsule form and smell like dessert? In 1915, millionaire Cecil Chubb bought Stonehenge at an auction for £6,600 as a gift for his wife. She hated it. So in the ultimate re-gifting move, he handed the prehistoric monument over to the British government. Awkward anniversary. Zebra stripes help stop horseflies from landing on them. The black and white pattern confuses the fly's vision and messes with how they see movement, making it harder for them to land properly. This helps protect zebras from painful bites. When electricity was installed in the White House in 1891, President Benjamin Harrison and his wife, Caroline, refused to touch the light switches, fearing electrocution. Instead, staff operated them, so much so that the lights often stayed on overnight. In the 1960s, Dr. Pepper promoted itself as a winter drink. The warm version involved heating the soda in a saucepan and serving it with lemon slices. Sweet, citrusy, and strange, it was their bold attempt at holiday cheer. In 1923, a dog named Bobby walked over 4,100 kilometers from Indiana to Oregon to reunite with his family. Nicknamed Bobby the Wonder Dog, he crossed rivers, deserts, and snow, proving loyalty travels farther than most humans would. Sloths might be slow on land, but they're surprisingly good swimmers. Using a gentle breaststroke, they float easily and can hold their breath underwater for up to 40 seconds. defying expectations of clumsy animals by showing off aquatic skills. Austria's coat of arms features a hammer and sickle, symbolizing the unity of workers and farmers, not communism. Adopted after World War I, these symbols represent the nation's commitment to social democracy and economic collaboration. Comic Sans, often criticized for its informal appearance, is recognized for its accessibility, particularly among individuals with dyslexia. Its unique letter forms and generous spacing help distinguish similar characters, aiding in readability. A blacksmith works with iron and steel. A whitesmith shapes softer metals like tin and pewter. A lesser-known brownsmith works with brass and copper. These trades not only forge tools and art, but help shape civilizations, literally. A 2014 study found night owls are more likely to take risks than early risers. Whether it's gambling, adventurous behavior, or bold decisions, the dark hours spark daring minds. Nighttime isn't just for dreaming, it's for scheming. During World War II, Britain urged citizens to stockpile tea, not weapons. Tea was seen as essential for keeping morale high during dark times, because nothing boosts courage and patience quite like a warm cuppa amid air raids and blackout curtains. Martin Baker, renowned for manufacturing aircraft ejection seats, honors pilots who eject with a certificate, pin, patch, and a subsidized watch. These items commemorate survival and membership in the exclusive Ejection Tie Club. Cats nap in sunlight to conserve energy and maintain their high internal temperature by soaking up external warmth. This behavior helps them reduce metabolic effort, using less calories to stay warm compared to humans. Zebra foals are up and running within an hour of birth. Their survival depends on keeping up with the herd immediately. Born into predator-filled savannas, baby zebras must sprint from day one, or risk becoming someone's dinner. A British company called Rent-A-Mourner lets you hire professional actors to attend your funeral and pretend they knew you. For a fee, you can look heartbreakingly beloved, even if your real social circle couldn't fill a teacup. Nissan uses the number 23 in racing because ni means two and san means three in Japanese. Together, they spell Nissan, a clever linguistic flex that turned their own name into a racing badge of honor. Subtle? Yes. Intentional? Absolutely. The world's largest church is the Basilica of Our Lady of Peace in Ivory Coast. It can hold up to 18,000 people, but most regular services only have a few hundred worshippers, making the massive size rarely fully used. Until the 1970s, bluefin tuna was considered trash fish in the US, often discarded or used for pet food. The Japanese called it nikomatagi, meaning too low for even a cat to eat, before it became a prized delicacy. Since 1331, English law has forbidden entering Parliament in a suit of armor. Enacted by King Edward II, the rule still technically stands. So yes, you can debate tax policy, but only if you leave your chainmail at the door. Regular exercise doesn't just sculpt muscles. It boosts focus, happiness, and energy for hours. Even a brisk walk can help your brain fire on all cylinders. It's the closest thing we've got to a legal productivity drug. When your eyes dart around, your brain temporarily blocks vision, a quirk called saccadic masking. It's like a neurological jump cut, hiding the blur so you don't get dizzy. Your brain edits reality like a film director with OCD. Veins look blue under the skin, but it's not because the blood is blue. It's due to how light moves through and reflects off the skin, making veins appear bluish to our eyes, even though the blood inside is red. In a controlled study, rats repeatedly chose to rescue a drowning companion instead of eating chocolate. This behavior implies empathy and altruism in rodents, challenging assumptions about animal social cognition. Since 2007, McDonald's UK has recycled used cooking oil into biodiesel. Over half their delivery fleet now runs on it, cutting carbon emissions and grease waste. It's fast food fueling fast trucks, one fry at a time. The praying mantis is one of the few insects that can rotate its head 180 degrees. With 2 compound eyes and 3 simple ones, it scans its world like a tiny, leaf-shaped surveillance drone with attitude. Potatoes can spontaneously combust if stored in the wrong conditions. Think bad ventilation, heat, and moisture creating a recipe for a tuber fire. Yes, your humble spud can turn into a mini bonfire if neglected long enough. Despite known health risks, asbestos mining persists in countries like Russia, Kazakhstan, and China. Worldwide consumption remains around 1.2 million tons annually, primarily for construction materials. Efforts are underway to mitigate environmental hazards associated with asbestos mining. FBI data shows approximately 38.4% of U.S. murder cases remain unsolved, meaning nearly a 40% chance offenders escape detection. Aggravated assault clearance rates hover around 53%, implying close to a 47% chance perpetrators avoid charges, highlighting significant investigative challenges in violent crime. In 1894, New Yorkers watched moving pictures through Thomas Edison's kinetoscope. It was the first public exhibition of film. 1 year later, cinema as entertainment took off, revolutionizing storytelling and launching an industry that would redefine modern culture forever. In 2014, the Philippines clocked Southeast Asia's slowest internet speed, just 3.5 megabits per second. Meanwhile, nearby Singapore cruised at 65 megabits per second. So while one nation streamed in Ultra HD, the other barely loaded cat videos. Geography doesn't always guarantee digital equality. Neurologists say regularly resisting anger can literally rewire your brain. Each time you pause before exploding, you're training your neural pathways to favor calm over chaos. Basically, it's emotional strength training, minus the gym and with far fewer thrown staplers. Astronauts prefer burritos in space because tortillas produce fewer crumbs than bread, reducing the risk of debris damaging equipment. NASA uses specially designed tortillas that are more durable and less crumbly, ensuring safer consumption in microgravity environments. A sudden influx of camels into Australia began in 1840, but Aboriginal oral history records their shock at seeing these white man's emu. Though introduced for transport, camels were integrated into indigenous life, even appearing in stories and art, long before invasive populations exploded. In 1556, China's Shanxi province experienced an 8.0 magnitude earthquake that killed an estimated 830,000 people. Many victims lived in cave homes carved into soft cliffs, which collapsed instantly. It remains the most deadly earthquake in recorded human history. Saturn's rings stretch a whopping 290,000 kilometers wide, nearly 3/4 the distance from Earth to the Moon. But they're razor thin, just 10 meters to under a kilometer thick. It's like wearing a wedding ring the size of Texas and paper thin. Google doesn't care much about your GPA or test scores anymore. In fact, 14% of their staff didn't even attend college. Turns out building search engines matters more than crushing Scantron tests. Degrees optional, being brilliant, however, is still mandatory. Over the past 50 years, the number of Catholic priests in the United States has declined by 60%, resulting in more than 3,500 parishes operating without a resident priest. This shortage has led to parish closures and increased reliance on lay leadership. Steve Jobs introduced the iMac in 1998, explaining that the I stood for Internet, reflecting the device's focus on web connectivity. He also suggested it symbolized individual, instruct, inform, and inspire, emphasizing personal empowerment and education. Caffeine doesn't directly give you energy. It blocks adenosine, a neurotransmitter that signals tiredness. Your body still feels fatigue, but your brain doesn't recognize it, leaving you alert, wired, and convinced that your morning coffee gave you superpowers. Base jumping isn't just a daredevil sport. It's an acronym. Building antenna, span like bridges, and earth like cliffs. That's every place you're not supposed to leap off, unless your parachute game is strong and your fear of heights is non-existent. In 2015, a British Airways flight had to turn around mid-air due to an overwhelming toilet odor. One smelly passenger's bathroom break literally grounded a plane. Proof that turbulence isn't always caused by clouds. Sometimes it's curry and poor timing. The term point-blank range actually means a distance up to 250 yards, where a shooter can aim without adjusting for bullet drop. It's not just about being very close, but about the range where bullets fly straight enough to hit the target directly. Free-roaming urban dogs worldwide learn traffic norms by observing humans. They wait at crosswalks until cars come to a stop, follow the signal cycle, and even board buses or trains in cities like Istanbul, Athens, and Moscow, showing remarkable street smarts by observation alone. Wolves don't just howl to the moon. They communicate complex data. A single howl can travel 16 kilometers, broadcasting identity, location, and territory. Each wolf has a unique voice, making the pack communication network a wild and natural GPS system. Cats have a built-in air-riding reflex, twisting mid-fall to land on their feet. Their flexible spine and instinctive acrobatics let them survive falls from insane heights. Basically, cats are furry little ninjas with a zero-regret attitude. Margherita pizza was named after Italy's Queen Margherita. Its toppings, tomato, mozzarella, and basil, represent the colors of the Italian flag, symbolizing national pride served on a delicious, cheesy, crispy crust. That's what you call a patriotic pizza. In 19th century New York City, pigs freely roamed streets eating trash. When banned in 1821, pig owners rioted repeatedly for nearly 30 years, resisting regulations that threatened their livelihood and the city's informal waste disposal system. In 1963, Universal Pictures released Charade lacking a proper copyright notice, omitting copyright as required at the time. This omission caused the film to instantly enter the public domain in the US, allowing free distribution immediately upon its premiere. China produces more than half the world's peaches, around 58%. With over 14 million metric tons annually, China far surpasses all other countries in peach production, making it the undisputed heavyweight champion of the global stone fruit industry. Baby carrots aren't tiny prodigies. They're regular carrots carved down to bite-sized cuteness. Invented in the 1980s to reduce waste, they've fooled snackers ever since. So next time you eat one, remember, it's just an adult in disguise. In 2013, a woman in Oregon intentionally started a wildfire to boost job opportunities for her firefighter friends. The blaze torched 206 square kilometers and cost $8 million to contain, making it the world's most expensive attempt at networking. Beavers' teeth are orange due to iron-rich enamel, which enhances their strength and resistance to acid. This adaptation allows beavers to gnaw through wood effectively, and the iron content contributes to their distinctive tooth coloration. A 2017 RAND study found 60% of American adults have at least one chronic condition and 42% have multiple. These conditions drive a substantial share of healthcare spending, nearly $4.5 trillion annually, with most costs stemming from the chronically ill. Herbert and Zelmira Fisher of North Carolina hold the record for the longest marriage, 86 years. Married on May 13, 1924, their love lasted until Herbert's death in 2011 at age 105. They outlived wars, trends, and nearly a century together. A 2009 study found most female cats are right-pawed, while males lean left. The difference might be linked to testosterone. So next time your cat swipes something off a shelf, yes, science says there's a preference based on gender. A Brunel University study found people who constantly post fitness or achievement updates on Facebook are more likely to have narcissistic traits. Turns out all those gym selfies might say more about ego than abs. Validation, now with filters. Japan sees roughly 880,000 missing person cases annually. A covert industry has emerged, helping individuals disappear overnight, often to escape debts, abusive situations, or start anew, reflecting complex social and economic pressures. Semantic satiation is a psychological phenomenon where rapid repetition of a word makes it temporarily lose its meaning, sounding like random noise. It was first coined in 1962, and experiments often show the effect after just 7 to 9 repetitions. A UC Davis study revealed that adding just 0.2% seaweed to a cow's diet can cut its methane emissions by nearly 60%. This groundbreaking discovery could revolutionize agriculture's role in climate change. And yes, it starts with seaweed. 15 countries, including Costa Rica, Liechtenstein, and Samoa, have no standing military. They rely on allies for defense and invest in education, diplomacy, or tourism instead. Turns out peace can be a policy, not just a hope. In Dubai, you can withdraw pure gold from ATMs, literally. These machines dispense gold bars ranging from 1 gram up to 2.5 kilograms, complete with live price updates and luxury packaging. Because who wouldn't want instant gold on demand? The choir and title sequence of the original Mr. Bean show actually sing the Latin phrase, Ecce homo ca est faba, which translates to behold the man who is a bean, adding a quirky and unexpected layer of meaning to the iconic intro. A Chinook wind in Spearfish, South Dakota, on January 22, 1943 triggered a record-shattering temperature swing. It soared from -4 degrees Fahrenheit to plus 45 degrees Fahrenheit in just 2 minutes, then plunged back 58 degrees Fahrenheit over 27 minutes, so rapidly that windows cracked. The largest bluefin tuna ever caught weighed 679 kilograms and stretched nearly 4 meters. Hooked off Nova Scotia in 1979, this monster fish could swim at speeds nearing 100 kilometers per hour, earning its title as the torpedo of the sea. When two lovers gaze into each other's eyes, their heartbeats can sync within minutes. Science says it's real romantic biofeedback in action. Love isn't just in the air, it's quietly tapping out Morse code inside your chest. Studies show that when women frequently text their partners, both report higher relationship satisfaction. But when men do the same, satisfaction tends to drop. Apparently, good morning texts are cute until he sends 17 of them by noon. When McDonald's closed in Iceland in 2009, someone saved the last burger and fries. They were put in a glass case, and even after 12 years, they still look almost the same, showing how fast food doesn't easily break down. A University of Cambridge study found that children often feel closer to pets than siblings. Kids reported greater emotional satisfaction and fewer conflicts with pets who offer loyalty and non-judgmental companionship. Every photo of you could be the one used in your obituary. A funny thought and a spooky reminder to smile, just in case. That awkward selfie or late-night group pic might someday outlive your favorite pose portraits. Studies show women are more attracted to men in red. The color signals power, dominance, and high status. Think red carpets, royalty, and stop signs. So yes, your red shirt might actually be doing the flirting for you. Ohio Judge Michael Cicconetti is famous for poetic justice. One sentence made a cab fare skipper walk 30 miles in 48 hours, the exact distance the taxi driver drove, unpaid. Justice wasn't just served, it was laced up in sneakers. The term brain freeze is actually owned by 7-Eleven. It's used to describe the quick headache you get from eating or drinking something cold too fast. The company uses it to promote their frozen slushy drinks. Since 1968, Snoopy has been NASA's official safety mascot, Astronaut crews receive a silver Snoopy pin flown in space, awarded to team members who significantly enhance flight safety, a cherished NASA tradition. About 90% of Americans rely on credit cards, and roughly 1 in 7 owns 7 or more. With debt piling and interest rates soaring, credit has become both a financial lifeline and a looming burden for many households. A cheetah can rocket to 64 kilometers per hour in just 3 strides and hit 97 kilometers per hour in 3 seconds. That's faster than most sports cars. Nature basically built a living, purring, predator-shaped missile on legs. In Canada, it's legal to challenge someone to a duel, provided nobody accepts the invitation. So technically, you can throw down a gauntlet with 0 risk. It's like a polite dare with a strict no-fighting policy baked in. Transmissible spongiform encephalopathies, or TSCs, including Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, are rare, fatal brain disorders caused by prion. These diseases have the highest known case fatality rates among non-inherited conditions, with no effective treatment, leading to rapid neurodegeneration and death. Freelancing traces its roots to Sir Walter Scott's 1819 novel Ivanhoe, where freelances referred to medieval mercenaries selling their combat skills to the highest bidder, warriors unaffiliated with any lord. Today, freelancer describes self-employed professionals with flexible, independent work styles. Weighted blankets, filled with glass beads or plastic pellets, help reduce anxiety, stress, and insomnia. The gentle pressure mimics deep touch stimulation, calming the nervous system. Though pricey, many users swear by their ability to improve deep, uninterrupted sleep. Some countries, like England, Germany, Finland, and the US, have playground for seniors. Designed to boost balance, flexibility, and fun, these parks prove you're never too old to climb, swing, or wobble your way to better health. Retirement just got fun. In 17th century Japan, meat was banned for religious reasons. Butchers got creative, rebranding pork as mountain whale and deer as field tuna to sneak around the rules. Culinary loopholes, samurai style. When in doubt, rename your dinner into something way fishier. Diana Budisavljevic, an Austrian humanitarian, orchestrated a rescue operation during World War II that saved over 7,700 children from concentration camps in Croatia. Her efforts, largely unrecognized for decades, highlight the impact of individual courage in times of atrocity. Between 2011 and 2013, China used about 6.4 gigatons of cement, more than the United States used during the entire 20th century. This massive consumption was driven by China's rapid urban growth, infrastructure projects, and large-scale construction, outpacing a century of U.S. development. Long before Monopoly or chess, Mesopotamians played the royal game of War, around 2600 BCE. Excavated from royal tombs, it mixed luck and strategy. This board game proves ancient civilizations weren't just building empires. They were also rolling dice and having fun. In Japan, hikikomori is a social condition where over 1 million people, mostly men, retreat into total isolation, often for years. They stay in their rooms, avoiding work or school and social contact. It's loneliness turned inward and locked behind closed doors. A Japanese indoor farm, once a semiconductor factory, now grows 10,000 heads of lettuce daily using 99% less water than traditional farming. It's high-tech gardening at its finest, where LEDs replace sunlight and lettuce gets pampered like hydroponic royalty. Sao Paulo, Brazil, is the only city with its own helicopter-specific air traffic control system. With 13 dedicated air corridors, it manages one of the world's busiest urban helicopter networks, helping executives soar above the city's infamous traffic jams. Between 1860 and 1916, British soldiers were required by regulation to grow and keep a mustache. Removing it was punishable by discipline or imprisonment. It was believed facial hair provided practical protection and projected strength in cold battlefield conditions. Kamchatka's Valley of Geysers holds 90% of Russia's geysers, over 20 active vents. Steaming pools, roaring eruptions, and volcanic heat make it a geothermal wonder. This remote valley is Russia's answer to Yellowstone, pulsing with Earth's raw, untamed energy. In 2007, a Bosnian couple fell in love online, while secretly cheating on each other. When they met their mysterious soulmate, it turned out they'd been chatting to their own spouse. They divorced, citing betrayal. Irony filed for emotional damage. Carl Bushby has spent more than 20 years trekking around the globe on foot, crossing frozen seas and dodging everything from wolves to frostbite to suspicious border guards. His epic journey is basically the ultimate don't-try-this-at-home adventure. The world's largest fast food chain isn't McDonald's. It's Mishap, a Chinese ice cream and boba tea brand. With over 45,000 stores worldwide, Mishap has quietly overtaken global giants, dominating the market with its affordable treats and rapid expansion. If all the gold ever mined, about 190,000 metric tons, were melted, it would fill roughly 3.5 Olympic-sized swimming pools. This highlights gold's incredible rarity, with its total volume being surprisingly small compared to its immense value and demand worldwide. Discovered in South Africa in 1905, the Cullinan diamond weighed over 3,100 carats, still the largest gem-quality diamond ever found. It was cut into several pieces, the largest now part of the British crown jewels, dazzling atop the sovereign scepter. Iquitos, Peru, home to over 470,000 residents, is the world's largest city unreachable by road. You can't drive in or out, only fly or float there. It's civilization deep in the Amazon, with traffic-free charm and riverboats instead of highways. Since 2000, global clothing production has doubled, yet we wear each item about 40% less. Fast fashion feeds our closets, but not our conscience. Clothes now cycle faster than memes, leaving landfills full of regret, sequins, and unused skinny jeans. Italy's Club dei Brutti, or World Association of Ugly People, boasts 30,000 members united against beauty discrimination. Founded to challenge societal beauty norms, it promotes self-acceptance and combats prejudice based on appearance worldwide. The Circus Maximus was ancient Rome's first and largest stadium, built in the valley between the Palatine and Aventine Hills. It could hold over 150,000 spectators, possibly up to 250,000, fell into decay in the 6th century, and today serves as a public park. Winston Churchill's alcohol routine was intense, starting with weak whiskey sodas, wine, or champagne with lunch, another bottle with dinner, and ending with brandy. He once said, "I have taken more out of alcohol than alcohol has taken out of me." Night vision goggles glow green because our eyes detect more shades of green than any other color. It's not just alien aesthetic, it's optical efficiency. Turns out the matrix-like tint is evolution-approved for seeing things that go bump. Oscilloscopes let us see sound as light patterns, turning invisible audio frequencies into colorful, dancing visual waves. It's like watching music come alive on a screen, letting scientists and musicians alike admire sound's secret light show. In Zimbabwe, it is against the law to insult the president. People who do can be punished with up to 1 year in jail or fined 4,800 Zimbabwean dollars, which is about $13 US. This shows how seriously political respect is taken there. J.R.R. Tolkien began The Lord of the Rings in late 1937, finishing the main draft by 1948. He continued revising appendices and narrative until publication. Fellowship and Two Towers in 1954, and Return of the King in 1955, totaling around 17 years. Every ear of corn has an even number of kernel rows, usually 16. On average, that's about 800 kernels per ear. This symmetry is thanks to corn's genetics and pollination process. Just one more example of nature's weird obsession with order. Great ideas often strike during boring tasks like showering, walking, or driving. That's because your brain relaxes, dopamine flows, and creativity sneaks in. So yes, spacing out in traffic might be your brain's version of a TED Talk. Your first kiss isn't just sweet, it's science. That smooch floods your brain with dopamine and endorphins, sparking euphoria and desire. Basically, your body throws a mini party and hopes there's a second date, or at least good breath involved. Gabe Saunier started as a janitor at a Louisiana school. Inspired by the principal in 1985, he pursued education leadership and eventually became the principal, exemplifying dedication and the power of role models in shaping career paths. Possums can eat up to 5,000 ticks in a season, making them unlikely heroes against Lyme disease. About 95% of ticks that attach are groomed off and eaten, helping reduce tick populations and the risk of infections in surrounding ecosystems. Ants can lift objects up to 100 times their body weight, equivalent to a human lifting a truck. They use this strength to build colonies, carry food, and defend themselves. Nature engineered them for strength, teamwork, and survival. Over 70% of all train journeys in the UK either begin or end in London. Whether it's for business, tourism, or escaping drizzle, the capital is Britain's undisputed rail magnet, pulling commuters in like tea pulls Brits to kettles. At a Korean restaurant on Jeju Island, China, the 5 most attractive customers each day eat for free. Judged by a panel, beauty literally pays here, though the menu might leave a bitter aftertaste for anyone seated outside the spotlight. French officer Jules Brunet was dispatched to Japan in 1867 to help modernize the shogunate's army. Defying orders, he stayed and fought for the shogunate during the Boshin War, inspiring the storyline of the movie The Last Samurai. About 1% of the static seen on an untuned television screen is caused by cosmic microwave background radiation, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, filling the universe with ancient light that dates back nearly 13.8 billion years. A group of owls is called a parliament, a name rooted in folklore and literature where owls symbolize wisdom. Though silent and solitary by nature, imagining them holding moonlit meetings is a charming nod to their mystique. On April 1st, 2017, Japan officially recognized Bitcoin as legal tender, but not a formal currency. You could buy a meal or gadgets with it, but don't try paying taxes in crypto. It's legit, but only halfway into the system. Only about 2% of the world's population is naturally blonde. So if you're rocking golden locks from birth, congratulations, you're basically a genetic unicorn. The rest of us? We owe everything to salons, bleach, and well-lit selfies. The 2008 financial crisis led to a significant coin shortage in the US, as many people hoarded spare change. In response, the Federal Reserve increased coin production to meet the demand and stabilize the currency supply. The largest known prime number, as of October 2024, has over 41 million digits, and there is a monetary prize for discovering new ones. The great internet Martian Prime Search offers over $3,000 for new discoveries. In early 1900s America, celery was a prized luxury food. Served fried, mashed, or in tea, it was a restaurant staple. Kalamazoo, Michigan, grew so much of it, the town became known as the celery capital of the world. In Texas, it's technically illegal to carry pliers in your pocket. A bizarre law from the early 1900s meant to prevent fence cutting. Today, it's a legal relic that says, "Don't mess with Texas or their barbed wire." In 2010, Apple sold around 40 million iPhones over the entire year. By 2015, they moved 4 million units in just 1 week. That's not a sales boost, it's a full-blown tech addiction wrapped in aluminum and shipped with a charger. Jumbo jets, like the Boeing 747, burn roughly 10 to 11 tons of fuel per hour, which equals about 1 gallon or 4 liters of fuel every second, highlighting the massive energy demands of long-haul commercial air travel. Before fame, Idris Elba worked as a bouncer at New York's Caroline's Comedy Club, where he was known simply as the doorman. During this time, he also sold marijuana, a fact he later acknowledged in interviews. Watching more than 2 hours of TV per day can reduce life expectancy by 1.4 years. Watching 6 hours daily might shave 5 years off your life. Too much screen time is literally stealing time from your future. Elvis Presley failed music class in high school. The king of rock and roll was once told he had no ear for music. Apparently, his hips weren't the only thing that defied authority. In 1890, the creators of the Ouija board asked the board itself what to name it. It spelled out Ouija and claimed it meant good luck. Basically, it named itself and then immediately gave everyone a cryptic warning. Turkeys show vivid color changes in their head and neck skin, shifting between red, blue, and white when excited or during mating displays. This unique blushing reaction is caused by blood flow changes, signaling emotional states and attracting mates during courtship rituals. Romania's Palace of the Parliament in Bucharest weighs roughly 4 million tons, making it the heaviest building globally. Although largely unoccupied, its annual heating and electricity expenses exceed $6 million, enough to power a medium-sized city and representing immense operational cost. The United States covers 9.15 million square kilometers, making it the fourth largest country in the world, behind Russia, Canada, and China. With landscapes from deserts to tundras, it's a nation of extremes, stretching across 6 time zones and countless ecosystems. In 1883, mongooses were introduced to Hawaii to battle rats, but flopped spectacularly. Mongooses hunt by day, rats by night, so they rarely met. Instead, the mongoose population exploded and started eating birds and native species. Oops, predator mismatch. In 2005, a student created milliondollarhomepage.com, selling 1 million pixels of web space for $1 each. The pixel-packed mosaic sold out completely, making him a millionaire from a screen that looks like digital confetti, proof that crazy ideas sometimes pay off. Paper airplanes, also known as paper darts, have been enjoyed for centuries, long before the Wright brothers' first flight in 1903. Their simple design and aerodynamic properties made them a popular pastime, illustrating early human fascination with flight. Chicken wings were once discarded or used only for broth, until 1964, when Teresa Bellissimo of Buffalo's Anchor Bar deep-fried them, tossed them in cayenne butter sauce, and served with celery and blue cheese. Today, wings are the most popular and priciest U.S. chicken cut. Medieval castles sometimes included doors that led nowhere. These dummy doors were built to mislead invaders or ward off evil spirits. Though often sealed or blocked, they served as both strategic illusions and superstitious safeguards in fortress architecture. India celebrates Children's Day on November 14th, the birthday of its first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru. Coincidentally, or not, it's exactly 9 months after Valentine's Day. Let's just say, love blooms in February and babies bloom in November. Hot air balloon competitions often include a strange but delightful rule. Pilots drop bean bags on ground targets to score points. Forget fire and altitude, it's all about beanbag accuracy from 1,000 feet. Sky-high sportsmanship meets picnic game physics. Groundhogs and woodchucks are the same animal, Marmota monax. The name woodchuck comes from an Algonquin word meaning digger, while groundhog is more common in the U.S. Both names are interchangeable and refer to the same burrowing rodent species. Lunatic derives from Latin lunaticus, meaning of the moon. Ancient thinkers like Aristotle and Pliny the Elder believed the full moon triggered madness, epilepsy, fevers, rheumatism, and various diseases. This lunar influence theory persisted well into the 1700s. With a GDP exceeding $23 trillion, the United States boasts the world's largest economy. Driven by tech, finance, and innovation, it shapes global trade, culture, and policy, proving it's not just a nation, but an economic superpower with global influence. Missy the cow, valued at $1.2 million, produces 50% more milk than average and has elite dairy genetics. She's basically the Beyoncé of bovines, beautiful, productive, and genetically gifted. Dairy farms don't just raise cows, they breed superstars. To discourage corruption, Chinese officials are sometimes taken on grim, scared-straight tours of prisons. They walk through cells, meet disgraced former leaders, and get a not-so-subtle reminder. If greed takes over, your office could come with bars. In 1908, German woman Melita Benz made the first paper coffee filter using her son's school notebook paper. This simple invention changed how people make coffee by keeping the grounds out of the cup, making coffee taste better and easier to brew. Did coffee filters change your life? Smash the like button if it did. Studies show that adults with high childhood adversity often report more intense creative experiences, greater absorption, self-transformation, fantasy, and coping through creativity, despite increased anxiety and shame, suggesting trauma fuels creative resilience. Ambulophobia is the fear of walking, often triggered by trauma or neurological conditions. Sufferers may feel extreme anxiety or imbalance when standing. Many rely on wheelchairs or assistance, not from laziness, but out of intense, involuntary fear. In South Carolina, first-time domestic abusers can face up to 30 days in jail. But abuse a dog? That's a potential 5-year sentence. Apparently, hurting animals carries a heavier penalty than hurting humans. Justice with fur, not feelings. During the Cold War, the U.S. government stockpiled over 500 million pounds of cheese in secret bunkers, just in case. It was dubbed government cheese, and yes, it was real. Because nothing says national security like emergency cheddar rations. Silk is produced by boiling or gassing silkworms inside their cocoons to extract fine silk fibers. Approximately 6,600 cocoons are required to produce just 1 kilogram of silk, reflecting the labor-intensive nature of sericulture. On December 12, 1925, architect Arthur Heinemann opened the Milestone Motel in San Luis Obispo, California, the world's first motel. Designed for automobile travelers, it featured garages beside bungalows and coined the term motel by shortening motor hotel. Spiders can't chew. Instead, they inject digestive enzymes into prey, liquefying organs and tissues into a slurpable smoothie. Each species has unique venom cocktails, but all of them dine like horror movie villains, with straws instead of fangs. A 2013 study from the University of Bristol found that people with a specific gene, ABCC11, don't produce underarm odor. Around 75% of East Asians have it. So yes, some folks naturally never need deodorant. Evolution is playing favorites. Microwaving food doesn't destroy nutrients. In fact, it often preserves more than boiling. Thanks to faster cooking times and less water use, microwaves help keep vitamins intact. Your quick meal hack might actually be healthier than you thought. Most octopus species have a short lifespan of 1 to 5 years. This brevity is due to their semmelporous reproductive strategy, where they reproduce once and die shortly after. Notably, the deep-sea octopus guards its eggs for up to 4.5 years. Unfrosted Pop-Tarts in strawberry, blueberry, and brown sugar cinnamon are vegan-friendly. They lack dairy, gelatin, and eggs. Frosted Pop-Tarts, by contrast, contain dairy-based ingredients like milk or whey, making them unsuitable for vegan diets. Most cats have 5 toes on their front paws and 4 on the back. unless they're polydactyl. These extra-toed cats often have enhanced climbing skills. Ernest Hemingway adored them so much. His old home is still full of their descendants. Sushi was traditionally finger food, meant to be eaten with your hands. Sashimi, on the other hand, is eaten with chopsticks. So next time you're judged at dinner, just say you're following centuries of culinary tradition. In Australia, if you tear a banknote in half, it's still worth something, specifically half its value. A $20 note ripped clean down the middle becomes two awkward $10. Currency down under doesn't mess around. It just multiplies when damaged. Though named after Isaac Newton, the cradle wasn't his invention. It gained fame in the 1960s when English actor Simon Prebble marketed it as a science toy to showcase energy conservation and momentum through simple, rhythmic motion. Adults in the U.S. collectively leave around $21 to $23 billion on unspent gift cards annually, with nearly half holding at least one unused card, averaging around $187 in forgotten balances, turning idle plastic into profitable company revenue. In 2017, a DNA test by CBC Marketplace found Subway chicken in Canada contained only about 50% actual chicken. The rest was soy. Subway disputed the results, but the findings sparked widespread concern about fast food meat fillers. In 2024, the U.S. hit a millionaire milestone, roughly 22 million, more than doubling in the past decade. That's nearly 1 in every 12 adult Americans. Wealth may be uneven, but it's clearly trending upward, like this video. In 2010, IKEA in Wembley, England, released 100 cats into the store just to see what would happen. No marketing plan, just pure feline chaos among flat-packed furniture. The results? Cat naps in bed displays and zero interest in meatballs. A simple voice recording can reveal a lot about a person. With modern tools, experts can find clues about your identity, health, emotions, habits, where you're from, and even your background, just by analyzing how you speak. A cat's nose print is as unique as a human fingerprint, with distinct patterns of bumps and ridges. This uniqueness allows for potential identification if a microchip fails, offering an alternative method for tracking lost pets. Only 4 music acts have had Billboard Top 40 hits in the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s, and 2010s. Michael Jackson, Madonna, U2, and Weird Al Yankovic. Their musical longevity proves talent and reinvention can survive trends in time. If your eyes were as sharp as the Hubble Space Telescope, you could read a newspaper from over a mile away. That's roughly 1.6 kilometers, meaning stargazing would feel more like eavesdropping on the Cosmos classified ads. In 2003, a Coca-Cola employee was caught sipping a Pepsi during work and was promptly fired. That's not just a brand violation, it's a carbonated betrayal. Lesson? In the cola wars, loyalty is measured in bubbles and beverage choices. Titanic Thompson was a clever gambler in the early 1900s. He played golf right-handed to fool people, but was really left-handed. He won big bets using this trick and made about $30,000 a year. Huge money at the time. Beekeepers avoid eating bananas before working hives because the banana's scent includes isoamyl acetate, a compound similar to bees' alarm pheromone. The similarity may agitate bees, making hive tasks more challenging. A powerful sneeze can break a rib, especially in people with weak bones. Suppressing a sneeze is even riskier. It can rupture blood vessels in your brain, burst an eardrum, or damage your throat. Better to let it out. When the U.S. introduced minimum wage in 1938, it was 25 cents an hour, about $4.50 today. Back then, that could actually buy lunch. Now it's barely enough for a vending machine lunch. Inflation's got hands. Kangaroos use their huge tails as a fifth leg. They lean on them for balance, power their signature hops, and stabilize mid-air during jumps. Without that tail, the iconic kangaroo bounce would look more like a clumsy stumble. Supermarkets place fruits and veggies at the entrance to make you feel healthy early on, subtly justifying junk food choices later. Essentials like milk are hidden at the back, so you walk past tempting snacks, increasing chances of impulse buys. Do you fall for this clever little trick? Birds remain unaffected by capsaicin, the compound that makes chili peppers hot, making chili-laced birdseed an effective way to deter mammals like squirrels, while birds enjoy the seeds unharmed. A coconut is botanically a drupe, but it's also classified as a fruit, nut, and seed. Every part is useful for food, drink, fiber, fuel, and even instruments. No wonder it's called the tree of life. A single Google search uses more computing power than NASA needed to send Apollo 11 to the moon. So every time you search Cat in a Hat remix, just remember, you're flexing more tech than a moon mission. In 2020, a robotic vacuum cleaner in the UK made a daring escape from its hotel confines. It rolled away like a tiny, autonomous Houdini, proving that even our gadgets dream of freedom from dust and schedules. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss next week's video. Or check out the playlist on your screen for more facts. See you next time.